Yo, 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 guys, what is up? And welcome back to another episode of the Warriors Invitational Podcast. It's your boy Gautam with my boys Matt and Chuck. No invitation today, man. It's just us three, the OG crew, and we don't really need to ask how we're doing today. We're all in the same boat. As a lot of Warriors fans right now, angry, pissed off, confused. Is this thing over? But
It sounds like our parents just all got divorced, man. This is
yeah,
tough.
this
Okay.
it's a tough side, man. This is I forget somebody on 95.7 said, I think it was Mark Willard, and he was like, "This is the lowest moment I can remember in the last 10 years of Warriors basketball." And the Clay injury was tough, and all that, the comeback story for everybody, that was tough. But this was the arguably the lowest moment, man. And and guys, this is where we should, I think, start off the show. Obviously, the Warriors coming off not one but two absolute shellackings to the Toronto Raptors. Shout out our guy S. He called it that the Raptors were going to win this one. We thought it was going to be maybe a close game. Chris Boucher was hitting shots, like the man called, and the Warriors stood no chance. They were down by 27 at some point, almost came back, and then subbed in Andrew Wiggins, and we're down by 20 again. Fast forward to yesterday night, New Orleans Pelicans bounce back game. Steve Kerr hit him with the this isn't gonna happen again. We're not getting run out the gym, blah blah blah. Got the fans in their seats, 5:30 on a Wednesday. Traffic in the Bay Area is not for the faint of heart. And the Warriors got shellacked again. They lost by 33, 35. That's whatever it was. They got absolutely
A
murdered.
lot.
They got absolutely murdered last night. And
It
it
was it was 40 at one point.
it was they were down by 40 at one point, and fans were booing. They booed on Sunday against the Raptors. They booed last night. This is the perfect place to start the show, man. Guys, is this the lowest moment that you can remember of a Warriors basketball in the, I don't want to say even the Steve Kerr era. I want to say post drafting Clay Thompson and Draymond Green. Let's say post drafting Draymond Green, 2012.
I so uh I feel like the 2019-20 season was all right, plays out. That's pretty rough, but who knows? Steph gets hurt, what, game six of the season? And then you're like, yeah, this one's over. But it was for reasons out of their control. Like coming off KD leaving, it was like, yeah, of course we're gonna sign Clay. Who cares that he's hurt? Steph's coming back. Steph's still in the prime of his career. Like we can still do something. And then he gets hurt, and you're just kind of like, all right, well, everything that could have gone wrong just went wrong. So, what are you gonna do? This one sucks because everything bad that has happened is felt like has been in their control. They've had players just drastically underperforming. Of course, we said it time and time and again. Draymond taking himself off the floor for close to 20 games now this season. I mean, missed almost half the season now while being perfectly healthy, which is just unacceptable. And um, the real thing for me showed when I was working pretty late last night. I'm on out here in Mountain Time, probably wrapped up at like 7:15. So first quarter wasn't even over yet. And then I checked the score. I go, oh God, you guys were already texting us back and forth about it. And I go, should I even turn this game on? You guys and my friends back home were like, no, don't do it to yourself. Don't turn this game on. And so I didn't. I had a nice quiet night pretending the Warriors didn't exist. And that's how you know it's the low point where I'm just like, I don't even want to do this to myself. I don't want to see what's going on out here. The general results just sounded like no effort. I mean, the defense just got blown apart, like 73 points at halftime, and it didn't even get better from there. So, yeah, I'd say this is probably the lowest point we've reached in the Steve Kerr, Steph Curry era. Matt, what do you think?
Couldn't agree more, Chuck. This sucks. So quite yeah, the first thing you might think of is the Clay ACL, right? But I think even after that, you can look at the Clay ACL and you can say, you know what? Players come back from the ACL. I just said ACL about four fucking times in two sentences. When Clay blew out his Achilles, it was tough because that sucks. There it goes without saying. But second pick in the draft, there were some hopes there, right? Picked Jimmy Wiseman. The rest is history, okay? But we didn't know the pit we were in at the time, okay? I feel like we're like out of Plato's cave now. We're finally seeing the light. We finally see what's happening in real life, behind the curtain. Okay, this is actually like now we're aware that this could be the it. This could be the end, right? I think we're all kind of in a place where we want things fixed. We think there are means for fixing, but this could be it. And I think living in this pit, knowing we're in a pit, is making this a little harder than it's been in the past. I don't know what's going to happen, but I know, Gautam, you brought this up. Chuck, I think you said something similar. This team has rolled over the last 2 games in ways that I've not really ever seen. This is like and again, people don't really realize this, but like even going back to Nelly Ball and whomever else, right? This team didn't roll over. They'd give up 1,000,000 points a game, but even pre Mark Jackson, they fought like hell. With Mark Jackson, they fought like hell. So with Steve, obviously, for the most part, they fought like hell. We watched that shit 2019, 2020 team fight in a lot of games they shouldn't have been in. I want to be clear, they sucked ass, okay? But they fought like hell, okay? This team looks uninterested in playing basketball for the most part. That sucks. That actually is like, that's defeating.
Even last year's team fought. Like I feel like there was a lot of games like guys like Clay, DiVincenzo, Poole. Like,
they were mismanaged like hell, right? But they fought. That team fought. They didn't roll over. They lost 1,000,000 games by 3, right? That team invented the fake comeback, right? And this team this year has they perfected it and then they shot it right in the fucking head. So good for them. No, this is the worst. It couldn't be worse than it is. The trade deadline cannot come soon enough. This team, again, we've all said some variation of this, but they seem broken in some way. Steph looks like he's finally snapped in a way. Clay is as irritable as he's ever been. Draymond's on the bench, finally demonstrating some semblance of like guilt on his face. He's watching this game and on the sidelines yesterday, you could see him looking out there like, it's like Anakin after he killed Mace Windu, man. Like, what have I done? It's tough stuff. Tough stuff out there for Draymond. Yeah, I'm ready for changes. I don't really care what happens. This just couldn't be worse. I'm tired of the Steve Kerr platitudes. I'm tired of the lack of effort from our wings. Good Jesus God, man. Pardon me. All respect to Moses, man. Too many good things to say about Moses, and of course the guy gets his calf blown out. Not bad, actually, to be clear. Looks like a slight strain from the sounds of it, but has 2 great games in a row. Granted, they're in blowouts, but Kuminga and Wiggins look like whatever the opposite of having a family member held hostage is. Whatever the opposite of that is to motivate you, like your family member, like, hey, if you play hard tonight, we're gonna give or if you don't play hard tonight, we're going to give your family $10 million. That's how Wiggins and Kuminga are playing. Okay. So anyway, no, I'm in the pits. I'm in hell. I've been in misery for 2 years now. You guys know me pretty well at this point. I don't like this. So with that all being said, Shams he told me Christmas came a second time today. He said Christmas is also on January 11th. And he said everybody besides Steph is on the table at the trade deadline.
Fire sale, baby.
Reactions, guys. Because Gautam, you shared that text, my guy, and actually, I don't know who shared that text. I might have shared that text. But anyway, it doesn't matter. It's a group chat. Reactions, boys.
I do think I sent that in, but I'm totally with you, man. I agree. Just on the lowest point thing, 100% lowest point of the year of this run. And kind of because, like you said, the injuries and everything, there was always a hope that, once you saw it, they had a chance to get back and at least compete. And they did. They went and won a championship in 22. This year and this team, it's cooked. Like the product is cooked. There's no adjustments being made. When there's something good, you go away from it. They had another elite fake comeback yesterday. They cut it to 11 or something. Subbed out Moody, subbed out Looney, subbed in TJD, subbed in Wiggins, I think at some point there, and obviously Jonas Valanciunas just kind of went ballistic, had a little Steph Curry third quarter himself.
It's got to be a twitch at this point, right? Like it's got to be a twitch. If you're Steve Kerr and you see someone really just
Yeah, I don't
absolutely
get
killing
it.
it.
I don't get
It's
it.
got to
And
be some like
obviously,
Tourette's thing where he's like Wiggins, like Wiggins, come on out, like he's calling Wiggins
yeah.
to the bench. Like it
And
has to be
that's
that.
2 games in a row that Wiggins, and again, man, like I don't want to keep piling on the dude because he hasn't had a good year at all, and it's been a big reason why this team hasn't looked as good as we thought they were going into it. But there's back-to-back games that a comeback just got absolutely just shot in the face when Andrew Wiggins got subbed in, and so it's time for a change. And I think Shams, and if that report is true, and that's what the mentality is for the team, that everybody's on the table with that except Steph Curry, obviously. And it sounds like if you guys listen to that Shams kind of soundbite, Clay and Draymond are also more unlikely to be dealt. So essentially what they're saying is everybody
You
outside
said
the
you said more
core.
unlikely, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
unlikelier to get dealt. It's not saying that it's off the table. And obviously we've had thoughts about Draymond. Clay's obviously going into a contract year. There's, a couple players out there. Zach LaVine name is coming up as one that, potentially could be a dude that involves Clay in a deal. But other than that, I don't really see Clay getting traded either. I do think he gets re-signed at some point. So essentially the sound out of the front office sounds like it's going to be, look, we're officially going all in on the core, which it's 18 months too late in my eyes. This should have been the case after that 22 ring. For me, the bigger annoying part of this whole thing has been the just lack of being able to say this exact thing. Years ago. Obviously, that 2020 season and everything. You didn't know 2021. You kind of Steph was obviously taking 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 the stab. He was playing at MVP level, and then obviously they put a squad around him in 22 with the perfect mix of vets, and it wasn't anything crazy, man. It was guys like Otto Porter, it was Nemanja Bjelica, it was GP2, it was Damian Lee when he was there, and then you had kind of young guys in Moses and JK who could kind of come in, and obviously you had the core playing, and those guys, Jordan Poole with the leap, Wiggins playing like the way he did, but it wasn't too hard in terms of construction of guys you needed to fill out. And obviously you need your main guys to play better. And that's been a big reason why this year hasn't gone well. But it's also just finding those combinations of just correct players to fit in. And this kind of just towing the line of not knowing what direction you're going to go. Is it youth? Is it not? Do we develop these guys when they've developed well? The older guys haven't played well. So it really just feels like a culmination of everything kind of coming together and in a negative kind of spiral. So I'm happy with the report. I think it's much needed. I think we can all agree. I don't really care anymore. If like they win another championship. To be completely honest, like four chips in 8 years or whatever this run is, 4 and 10. We've seen enough championships for a lifetime, and if this is the end, like we'll look back on this run and obviously have great memories. But the fact that it's ending like this, where the product isn't fun, it's a shit watch every night. Like every night you're in a close game, you're turnovers, just bad shots, not making stuff. Guys can't play well, like bad coaching decisions. Like this, something's got to give. And you look, man, like I don't. I want to give Steph the best chance he has to get another ring. I think the guy deserves it. And Steve Kerr said it a lot, man. The dude is carrying the weight of this franchise on his shoulders, and right, I mean, rightfully so. Like he is our best player, he's the top 10 player of all time. But at a certain point, you got to do something to help out your superstar. He's 35. He can't. He's going to be good for some of these slumps, man. That's even in his prime, he was, he had games where he couldn't, carry the team, just off bad shooting nights or whatever it is. And so for all this, for guys like Draymond to hit European dudes and miss times as much as he has, and Clay and Wiggins and everything. So I'm cool with the message. I think it's time. Who that turns into and what happens. Obviously, it's going to be a wait and see. But I think Mike Dunleavy, to his credit, he said it. They had 15 games kind of to prove it. They're 7-7 since he made those comments. So obviously still kind of teetering around that 500 kind of ass basketball that we've been seeing. So no, I'm fully behind that mindset, and I think that the urgency, it sounds like it's there. It has to happen, very soon. If like sooner, this a trade has to happen like yesterday. If I'm being completely honest, like if the yesterday didn't open anybody else's eyes to seeing if this could work,
Gautam, you sound sad in a way I just can't even. It's hard for me to hear right
it
now.
is,
Like
man.
you're,
And like I look, man,
it's
I'm the biggest like optimist, and I went into this season like thinking that this team could win a championship. And look, man, injuries happen. Like CP's missed time, GP's missed time, but guys just haven't played well, and it sucks because like, you last year going into it, you felt like they had a chance, and I've so said it today. Like if they had last year's squad with this year's bench, I think they mess around and might, win a fifth one. But again, Denver, whatever, like that whole thing. But just to see it kind of blow up in real time is not fun for anybody.
No,
But
it sucks, man. It's horrible.
it's just
Chuck,
like
I
Yeah,
want to real quick. No, go, man, Chuck. I was you were ready to fire off, man, a second ago. I cut you off.
yeah, no, I was gonna say, and the Steph quote was really interesting too, of going post game and saying, "You've seen it. We can't just keep doing the same things, expecting a different result." Um, and one thing that I think we've been really grateful for is we've had like 10 years now of Steph being in like this star tier, and uh, usually, stars of that level, stars who are the face of the franchise, and the team goes where they go, they tend to, leverage a little power and say, I want these things. I want this guy. I want these moves to happen. Um, it's especially weird seeing like LeBron constantly getting his coaches fired and making trades happen and doing all these things. And KD just doing whatever the hell he likes and making these terrible, terrible big threes over and over again. Steph has never been that guy. So that really, the fact that he's going out there publicly and saying things need to change on this roster and they need to change now is a pretty damn good indicator of where things are. And I was going to say, like, that's probably about as good of an indicator that we are at the breaking point.
and we've
And
never heard Steph.
another good indicator that we're at the breaking point is that you've lost your positivity, Gotham. Like
Tough, man.
I've never seen that, man. Like you're always like, oh, we're gonna win this one. We're still gonna be
I'm about to start
championship.
predicting
I
L's
haven't
on.
seen a championship text from you in weeks.
It's
Like
it's it's
that's a
it's
good
cooked, man.
sign.
The
That's a
product is
good
cooked.
sign that we're fucked.
100%. And like look, man, everybody's like said it, and it sucks to see like your idols kind of go down, and it's at times it's gonna happen to everybody, right? Like it's the end of a dynasty, and any iteration of the NBA has never been pretty, and so maybe it was fool's gold to expect like after last season that maybe this is the end, but I think that the thing that makes it tough is Steph is still playing at such a high level. And look, can he be the guy that can carry you like he did in 2022? Maybe not. Like maybe he needs a little bit more help, but you have the assets to make that help come. And that's where my kind of annoyance with the team is right now of seeing the same thing over and over again. Like and again, like we're like, the cruelest part about this whole thing is like they're not dead. Like you're 17 and 20, or 12th in the West. So you're not there's a lot of time that if a move is made within, a reasonable amount of time that you can turn this around and go on a run and get into that top six and go do that. We've seen teams do that. We saw Boston do it in 2022 when they acquired Derek White and started playing Robert Williams. So it's not that this is out of the out of question that this team can still, this core can still do it, but it's beyond clear that it's got to be another iteration of how they're going to get there. But for Steph to come out and say that, like you said, Chuck, is huge. I think that we joke about LeBron. I think we've said this before on another episode of how LeBron kind of the GM kind of stuff and taking that into his hands. But to the guy's credit, when something's not working, he makes that decision. He lets the team know and he lets the front office know. And so for Steph, I feel like that was something that people have always kind of asked about, like, or the leadership of Steph. I don't know, it's stupid to call it out. I know Stephen A. Smith was going around in town saying stuff like that, but like this is part of it. Like you have to realize when the right time is to pull the plug, and I think these last two games have shown that. And so for Steph to come out and say that, give us that quote of doing the same things, insanity, whatever, puts the guys on notice. I think that officially now you have to make a move like ASAP because if guys weren't motivated before, like to now know that the entire team is on the trading block outside of like your superstar. I don't think you're gonna get good effort or good product in the next few games. Yeah, but for Steph to go out and say that, make that known to the front office, to the fans, to everybody, big step. And hopefully within before our next episode or whatever that is, we'll see a new squad.
Gautam, I'm gonna ask you real quick, man, because again, we have both hit the Gotham panic button. Chuck and I have. You do think though still this team can make a move and get back to that top
100%.
six space?
I do, and I do think that because, and it's not even like we joke about the optimism thing. I'm not even like looking at it from an optimism standpoint. I'm looking at it from, look, if you get guys that are being thrown around, Pascal Siakam, other role players, guys who are more ready, and it's you need to lean on defense. I think if there's a combination of guys that you can get out. I know DeJounte Murray was a guy that we floated around, and there's some reports, and so I'm not saying it's gonna happen. It really depends on what the haul is and who they end up getting, but there is like if you get a Siakam and you can run out a Steph Clay, um, let's say they end up doing this. I know there are reports that there's Moody or Kuminga. Let's say they keep Kuminga in this case. Like you get JK, Pascal, Draymond. Then you have guys like Pods, GP, something else in that hall. Whatever that rotation starts to you're still gonna be 8, 9 guys deep with Steph, Clay, Draymond, Pascal Siakam, and everybody else. So I do think that a drastic overhaul doesn't necessarily mean that this team's out of it. I do think that they could, because look, if they get in the top, if they get a playoff series without having to go in the play-in, anything can happen. And I'm still at the point where these guys get to the dance. I'm until I see it, like we saw last year, they ran out of gas. Until I see that, I'm still rocking with Steph to lead us to that promised land. But you have to elevate the floor of this team and you have to do it fast. And if that doesn't happen, then yeah, you're screwed. But if it does, again, you're 37 games in the season. So there's more than half of the games left. You're obviously getting into more dangerous territory, but there's like this team, like the in 2022, they went on, they started 18-2, and then they were playing 500 ball. So you need one stretch that really gets you over the top, and a new look team maybe just a thing that gets you into that spot.
Yeah, I like that you said new look team because I think I think it needs to be a new look team. Like I don't think it's a one move type deal for this
I agree.
squad anymore. Um, guys, I think we should play a little game. We're gonna play a game of what I just decided in my head is called how safe is this guy on a scale of I'll drive him to the airport to keep him. Okay, I'll drive him to the airport. Obviously, hey, get him the hell out of here. I'm good with it. To keep him, we're gonna leave Steph out of this. We'll go kind of through the rotation. I think 10 guys. Stop at good old Corey Joseph, I think.
I'll
Um,
drive him to the fucking airport, man.
okay, but we can start there. Gotham. I'm gonna just pull out the roster, but starting with Kojo. Gotham.
I look, man, this isn't even anything against Corey Joseph personally. The guy just makes my blood boil. I don't know why. Can't hit a shot, doesn't fucking plays good defense and like does whatever. But like, man, I just the guy makes this is more personal than anything. So I will drive him to the fucking airport. But he has, stepped in and with CP out has still has provided some good minutes. But I don't know, something about him is he's at like because I had the same thing with like Damian Lee back in the day, and something about him just made my blood boil.
Well, he has that thing going on where he doesn't do shit. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That's the
Makes
issue.
Damian Lee look like an all-star compared to what Kojo brings to the table.
I'm not gonna lie, Damian Lee is like the classic ex-girlfriend. My God, I let her go. What was I thinking? You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Now,
That
now I'm
is
seeing the other side. I'm like, yo, baby, take me back.
he was nothing but good to us,
I
man.
grew
It's
up. I
tough.
promise.
It's
I
tough.
promise.
Chuck, your first target's gonna be Gary Payton second, man.
Oh, Gary. I don't want to say I don't want to say drive him to the airport because I love him. I love the way he plays. But the guy's making a decent chunk of change for a role player. He's sitting around 8 mil a year, and he just can't stay on the floor. Like it's really tough. And I think there's a world where they could build a roster that could kind of like accommodate what he does, just being a defender, cutting, shooting open threes, that kind of thing. But the injuries plus the age plus the salary plus the just lack of any sort of offensive creation or pressure that he brings on that end. Um, I'm not gonna drive him to the airport, but I'll chip in for Zuber.
Tough. Tough stuff for Gary, man. Okay, well, I get it. I think I agree pretty strongly. It is tough. That to me, I think out of all the moves, which I'm probably most like emotionally okay with, feels to me like the biggest betrayal for some reason. I think it is because of the chip. It is because he's an absolute dog. It is because you feel for him with the injuries. But the 9 million he makes, it's outside of the obvious Wiggins and CP contracts. Um, it's the highest number you can move, right? So when you got to make certain things work, which the Warriors are going to have to, and again, I think we all just agree this team is not one move away, right? Um, it's one of those contracts that has to go, and if you can't, if you again, you got to play, right? He's playing less and less every year, and God, it hurts my soul. Gotham, it's hurting you, man. Go
I'm
ahead.
keeping him just because he's Steph's best friend, man. Like he just vibes, bro. Like I need him. Bro. Like this fool is just he's goated. I love GP. I can't. I know it's probably gonna happen, but I'm gonna keep him. Just if he's healthy, he's
Okay.
awesome. So I want to keep him.
Well, my first target here is Saric. Listen, I I'm sorry. I think I might kind of walk with him. I might hide the Uber and then I'll have someone kind of open the door and I'm tripping him and pushing him in. Like I can't I don't like I'd like to enjoy a few minutes with him while we're walking, but the guy is the definition of a zero, man. I can't I can't with the guy. I like him a lot. You know what? I'm even as I'm saying I'm feeling bad about it. On a scale of one, I keep driving to the airport, I'm taking that back. Saric, facilitate a move, back up big. I'm doing a full 180. I'm keeping Saric. I'm not passionate about it, but he can stay. He can stay. If a move requires $2 million more, I'm not gonna cry about it. The guy's actually been solid for what a backup big needs to be. And I think next to Draymond, he could be even better. So full 180. I'm sorry for the metaphor, the tripping metaphor, Dario. If you ever hear this, I like your mustache, and I'm sorry. Okay.
Yeah, no,
Matt, you drive him to the airport and then pick him up, come back,
I'm driving him, and then I'm getting there, and
pull the
I'm
whole
crying, and I'm saying
Ross
I'm sorry, and I'm
Rachel
driving
like
him
get off the
back
plane
home.
kind of deal, get back.
It's tough.
Uh,
Rachel and Ross.
Rachel,
Rachel and Ross and friends. That's me and Dario.
love it.
Okay. Gotham, your next guy.
saying Bielitsa's name at the altar.
Oh no.
uh,
Oh no.
no,
Gotham.
I'm with you. I'm with you there on Saric. Like I
Yeah,
think
I think you keep
there's
him.
only there's only so many productive minimum contract guys you're gonna get, and if he's gonna be one of those guys, like we said, they have other minimum guys. If they really need like $2 extra million in salary filler, Corey Joseph's right there.
Yeah, get him up.
Obviously we haven't really
Send
seen
him out.
anything. Yeah, we haven't really seen anything from D Santos, but like D's right there if you need extra salary. Like there's other ways to get it done. So yeah, no, I'm with you on Dario. Like
Yeah, keep him.
tentatively keep him.
I went through the whole emotional process. Chuck, that was very well said. And it was responsible and mature in a way I couldn't even hope to be. So good for you. Um, Gotham, you have a big burden
I
on your
know. I just
shoulders right
saw
now,
it.
man.
I just
I'm
saw
going
it.
to point this out. This guy's making about $8 million, if I recall correctly. Another one of those sizable contracts the Warriors have to move. Some days he looks like the greatest offensive rebounder. Chuck, $7 million. Thank you. Some days he looks like the GOAT offensive rebounder. Some days he looks like he's got to go to Germany every 3 hours for the PCP injection in his knees. Plasma, no,
PCP
PCP is tough.
PCP
PCP is
injection.
tough. That's my bad. Plasma rich platelets, what I meant. PCP. You know what though? If we're being real,
He could.
It might help.
Loon.
if we're being real though,
He might be.
Loon
He might be.
Loon could be okay on. I'm gonna skip out the rest of this one. Getting delusional apparently. Gotham. Where are we at with Looney? We drive him to the airport. We keeping him. What's it looking like?
Dude, I'm getting him the nicest chariot ever and go in style, man. A king's exit. But man, I'm with you. The money, it's the same kind of thing with GP. Looney's forever stamped in my eyes. If we keep him, I'll be happy. But again, that's the money part. And from a production standpoint, as a backup big, you can keep them. I think it really depends on who you get in some of these deals. If you're able to get a big man, like if you I know Nikola Vucevic is a guy that's been thrown around. Like if you get a big man that can kind of score and do that, then Yeah, man, I'm all with I'm I'm all for getting Looney out, but man, the Loon God, man, the guy stamped, and statues forever there. We'll never forget the 8 and 20s that he was putting up. Fool's goated. But again, we'll get him the nicest chariot to go to SFO and go wherever he's got to go. But it pains me. That was the first real hard one. I guess GP was tough too, but Loon, if it's necessary, then yeah, I'm not gonna hesitate.
That's tough. It's cold-blooded.
It's
It's
it's like it's
heartless,
Game of Thrones in this motherfucker, bro.
but it's
We're going
necessary, man. It's necessary.
good jobs.
Looney has never, in my eyes, done a single thing wrong
Never.
besides be slow and unable to finish in the rim. Besides those two
Not even his
things,
fault, man.
it's
Homie was
not.
supposed to be
It's
KD
not, man.
before, but
Betrayed by his body. He's in the
it's
Gary Payton category, but even more so. We love Loon. Chuck, anything to add there?
Nah, I'm with you, Gotham. Like I'm renting out that weird glass hatchback Pope mobile that they drive the new Pope around in.
yep.
Picking I'm picking Loon up in it. I'm seating him on the back. He's waving like the Queen of England at all the passerby.
I'm getting him to his seat in the plane, man. Like I'll get him peanuts if he wants, like whatever he wants, and make this exit as best as possible. But
Nah, like first class ticket.
anything,
I'm
bro. Like
prepaying for his meal.
love this
I'm
guy.
paying I'm paying for the car to pick him up at the airport
Yeah, yep.
when he gets there. But
It
yeah,
he's gonna
it's
have to get there at some point. So it's a time. Who's up there? Is it Chuckster
Yeah,
next?
we got Moses next.
Ooh.
oh God.
I before you say it, Chuck, this is what I want to say. In terms of like what makes this whole thing feel so bad, it's because we love these guys. Like we love a lot of these players,
Yeah.
and it's so tough to get to the point where we're like, yo, we got to get rid of them to get this team back to where it is. Chuck, you got another tough one, man. Moses, what you feeling?
You know, if we had a coach who could, I don't know, see the merits of the basketball he plays, then I would feel differently because he's so like you said earlier, Gotham, he's a great floor raiser. He's always looking to be aggressive with a shot. I think he does all of the right things, and it just doesn't seem to matter. So I same as Looney, I'm giving him the full treatment, the whole 9 yards. Unfortunately, driving him to the airport, but I'm gonna do it in a happy way. You know, it's like when a parent drives their kid off to college, and you're just like, "This is bittersweet, and I'm not gonna see you again." But every time you come back to visit,
Who's on the
you'll be a better
table?
man. You'll be a better man for it. There's a lot of development going on, and every time we see him, we'll be like, "Whoa, this is like a whole different guy." So at this point, and like you said too, with the love we have for these players and what they've contributed, I want to see Moses Moody thrive,
Yep.
and it's not going to happen here. So gotta gotta send him up to school, and hope he gets that development he needs.
Keep balling,
So
my
I'm
guy.
on the same page. My only caveat is, as part of the deal, Steve Kerr has to give him a piggyback ride to the airport. That's where I'm at. Okay.
Yeah, you can't do that, bro. The development's not there yet.
Steve has to give a piggyback ride.
Yeah, not there. But yeah, no, I'm with you, Chuck. I like the way you said that. Like as a kid going off to college, like I think Moses is gonna be good for it in a new situation. And the guy, like he's a legit NBA player, man, and he's gonna do great things. And can't believe that our coach couldn't see it, to be honest.
He's just good. Like Moody is just like he's a good wing in the NBA. He is playing the way that the Warriors were hoping Wiggins would play. Genuinely. Like he's doing those things. He hustles on D. He's when given the opportunity, shoots the piss out of the ball. When he gets a rhythm right. It's again, I will say this over and over again. How does Steve Kerr look Moses Moody in the eye after 2 games like he's had the last 2 nights? I don't know how he does it.
Matt, you got another kid going off to college. Jonathan Kuminga, but let's hear it, Matt. What you
I'm not gonna
what
lie.
you-
I again I think I've been pretty I think highly of Kuminga for in a lot of ways. I don't think he's given best effort consistently. Um, I appreciate dogs. Like in the NBA, I love a workhorse, man. I love a Moses Moody type player, and they're out there. They're just giving everything they have. So sometimes Kuminga can rub me the wrong way because I don't think it's how he's wired necessarily. But it's also, to be clear, in the situation he's in, these two guys especially have been just tugged and jerked around like you couldn't believe. So I totally feel for them. I think JK has looked good in the last 3, 4 weeks as a starter. I think he's been solid. Um, for all the talk comparing him and Wiggs, and I've done these things, I don't even think they play similarly, right? I think JK loves getting his body into guys. I think he loves being physical at the rim. I think he loves posting up. I think he loves drawing contact, even though he's not a great free throw shooter. So I don't always love that they do the same things comparison. I don't think they're accurate. I think JK has a pretty clear path to like really high level starter to like maybe an all-star. Um, with that being said, this guy is not he's not the future of any franchise by himself. I think he's gonna be a really good player one day. I think even right now he's a good NBA player. With that all being said, he's got to go. He's the Warriors' most valuable asset, I think. Um, he he's got I think 8 million, 9 million bucks in the books. We know the deal, $7 million. I think actually, I think he and CP combined for like a perfect Siakam deal. Uh, they can't do the Wiseman thing twice. They can't do the Wiseman thing twice, where they think a guy is like a future franchise pillar when probably not. Especially probably not if they have any intention of keeping Steve Kerr. I'm sorry. Um, so with that being said, I'm uh I'm wishing him the best of luck. I'm giving him a hug, kissing him on the cheek. I'm saying I'm really proud of you. It's like I'm sending him off to college and the household he's been in. Me and my partner have not been good to him, kind of thing. Like you're gonna do great. I don't think you'll ever come home. I think you deserve a good world out there. I'm driving him to the airport. He's sitting shotgun, and we're we're getting a cheeseburger on the way out. Okay, I think he deserves it. But JK's got to go. With that being said, he's valuable, man. He looks good. They can't do the thing, the whole, oh, he's valuable now. He's looking like he might be a player. I know, move him. That's why you got to move him now. His value is actually pretty high right now. Get him out of here. I love you, JK. We'll share those cheeseburgers, man. But you're going. You're outie.
Yeah. I agree 100%. I I am teetering on the keep him side just because of that reason. Not and again, if there's a deal out there that requires Kuminga, I'm not hesitating. But I think with him getting the full just getting unleashed, when he's given the opportunity in the starting lineup, it seems like he's making those strides. I think Kuminga playing with this core, I think can be a very, very legit rotation guy and be a guy that can this year, next year really step up, especially if given the opportunity without having, other guys in the Wiggins, Moody, whoever it is, like guys that are trying to get those minutes as well. So I am if we can keep them, I would very down, but I totally agree. If it requires if it's a sticking point in a deal to get like a guy like Siakam, send it. You're like you said, Matt, you're never gonna get a better value for him than right now.
I'm glad you brought that up. I actually, jokes aside, yes, first of all, if you can get Siakam without moving Kuminga, do it. However, I'm moving Kuminga the next day or the same day in a different deal to get somebody else as well.
Yeah, fair, very fair.
Chuck, where you at?
Yeah, no, I agree with all of what you guys said. I think, you can't cling on to the promise of what he might be years down the road, for the sake of wanting something in the near future. Um, and yeah, no, I just can't get you can't get too attached to the youth and the potential, and that ship has really sailed. So yeah, he and Matt will enjoy those cheeseburgers on the way to the airport. Time honored tradition, a little in and out run
Yeah.
while you're on the way. But no, I think that's just kind of how it has to be. Um, Next up, another tough one here for Gotham. Trace Jackson Davis.
This
What do you
this
think?
was
He is.
this wasn't that tough for me. I'm keeping him. I'm keeping TJD. I think that regardless of who you get, having an athletic kind of rim running protector guy that can kind of open the middle of the paint. We've seen him and Clay in those pick and rolls, and it's pretty money. With guys like Steph and Clay on this team, TJD is going to just be eaten in the post, whether that's through just slip in, pick and roll stuff. Defensively is obviously still a lot of work to go. I think he showed flashes, but like every rookie, there's going to be growing pains. But if he's your backup center or your, third option center, whatever it is, I think he brings a lot to this table just from a spacing standpoint that he can eat on this team. And so, honestly, pretty easy one for me. I'm keeping TJD, and I think that I think however this shakes out, he's going to be one of those young guys that is possibly not as well known and fit in on other teams as well as guys like Moody and Kuminga and even Pods, who's obviously coming up. But so I'm keeping TJD, man. Enjoy that apartment in San Francisco. Get cozy, man. You about to be here for a little bit.
He's I like TJD. I think he's like the most unique center the Warriors have had in a long time. That's pretty much solely because of his rim running ability, I think. With that being said, I've made this comparison a few times in different conversations. I don't know what year it was. One of Kobe's last prime years. Okay. The Lakers traded for Ramon Sessions. Okay. Ramon Sessions, I think before that was a point guard with the Cavs. All right. And how the media treats the Lakers, right? They could trade for me and it would be like their title favorites. Okay.
Represent.
The Lakers traded for Sessions, and it was the biggest deal on planet Earth, right? Sessions, I remember watching a game with my dad one day. It was one of the national TV games, right? And Sessions made a beautiful, full court pass and a fast break. Okay. And I just remember my dad saying, like, oh my God, like this guy's pretty solid. We didn't know Ramon Sessions, right? In hindsight, the only special thing about Ramon Sessions was that he wasn't Derek Fisher. Okay. So I like TJD. I think we have good reason to like TJD. Okay. I think one of the big reasons we really like TJD is because he's not Kevon Looney. Okay. He's athletic. He finishes at the rim. He's springy. He's spry. However, I don't think TJD should be a guy. If somebody needs him, if they're like, we need one more young guy, I'm in. Let's say JK is not going. It's Moody. I'm sending TJD before Potts, for example, right? I like him. You said second string, third center. I totally agree. He's a nice guy to have in that role. Obviously, he can step in and do things. However, anybody who thinks this guy is like the answer to the Warrior starting center spot, I think they're kidding themselves. I like TJD. I think he's going to be a nice player in the NBA for a long time. No qualms with to keep him. I think if you can, again, like I said, rotation player. However, I can't get over that Ramon Sessions comp. Chuck.
No, I think that's beautiful because I'm with you too on TJD, where like if it makes sense for you to acquire someone else, and like let's say they're making a move to get a starting center, and Looney is going to the bench, and you need to make him the third string guy, or you need to include him in the deal to make the money work. I'm not losing sleep over it. But if you make a move that involves Kevon Looney and you decide TJD is going to be the backup, great. Because I think for all the same reasons you said, Gautam, he's a legitimate rim runner. He's a shot affecting presence, not only a shot blocking presence, but he's really good at altering things around the lane. Um, we've seen, kind of the rough spots where, the league has definitely gotten a lot bigger in terms of what you're going to be seeing in turn, like Jokic obviously being a big part of that, but Minnesota's thriving, effectively running two centers in their starting lineup. Uh, you're gonna need someone who can be physical, who can hold up in the post at least, and not fall for all the tricks that these guys have. So yeah, I agree with you too. And I think the point you made with Pods, which is the next guy we need to talk about, I'm team I'm team keep because if you're making some like sell the farm deal and you've got to include every good asset you have, okay, then yeah, maybe there's a scenario where he could be traded. But we've seen the Chris Paul experiment not really work. And the Warriors clearly at least have a strong bench ball handler, one who makes defensive impact, one who's really smart, one who shoots the ball really well. He looks like he can be a great Warrior. And especially keeping an eye on next season, which I think a lot of these moves is, hey, let's do something now, but let's also keep an eye on next offseason where we can make a big acquisition. If you're in that position, you're taking Chris Paul's contract, you're trying to turn it into a wing or a big, you're going to need some ball handling juice, some rim pressure, some shooting from the backcourt coming off the bench. And Pods brings all of those things. He's young. He's only going to be in the second year of his rookie contract, and he already looks like he earned a place. So I would strongly lean towards keeping him.
Yeah, agreed. Totally agree. I think even just kind of building on that, like these guys are going to be second year players, like you said, Chuck. So even financially, from a trade standpoint, I don't see how much of an asset they are in terms of like making a deal, like or making or breaking a deal, if that makes sense. Like, if do they get? They're like Kuminga, Moody could be sticking points, and rightfully so. They kind of had more to prove, but I feel like Paz and TJD, you're gonna have the option to keep them if you want. And so I think, yeah, and like we saw it in the 2022 run, man. Like Kuminga and Moody, when they were given a chance as rookies, they had some good minutes. And I think Paz and TJD are similar kind of floor raisers when given the opportunity. And so yeah, I'm team keep the rookies this year.
Yeah, in between with a lot of these guys. I love pods, to be clear. And I'm not even gonna put a ceiling on pods ever. I'm not gonna put a ceiling on a guy on a guard who can average 8 rebounds a game and shoot 40% from three. Like, I don't know if that can be at any point. Um, and a guy who's as smart as he is, he's the guy I'd be least. If I'm the Warriors, I'm fighting tooth and nail to not give up pods in the deal for all the reasons you said, Chuck. For all the reasons you said, Gautam. He is a Warriors. He's a Warriors warrior, right? He really is. He's a dog. Maybe has I keep saying main character syndrome. I'm not sure, but I don't care.
I follow it.
He's he really cares about the game, man.
that long sit on the bench
He's the
after the
best.
Raptors lost.
He's
It's
After
dramatic.
2 weeks
I'll never
after
forget.
Clay called him dramatic ass
Dramatic
rookie.
rookie is the
it
best.
is classic, man. But no, I'm fighting tooth and nail to keep him. I actually do think though, if I'm again, he's a guy from the Warriors. I think you have to make explicitly clear you don't want to move him. Because I'm gonna be frank though, if I'm the Raptors, I want pods.
Yeah.
I want pods. He's a guy again. He's a spot starter here and there. He can play with a lot of different lineups, like we've already seen. Right, he's a connector. And so the Warriors they have to kind of make it clear it's not a guy that like they're willing to move. I don't think he should be untouchable necessarily, but I think he should be the closest thing as far as the young guys goes to being I don't want to say touchable, but acquirable. Okay. Um, I guess it's my turn, and
We're
I
getting
have
into the good stuff, man. We got three guys left. Obviously, we're keeping Steph Curry, so we got three dudes left. Um, Mr. Money Green, man, Draymond Green, Matt, where are you at? Because like,
so
just this,
yeah. Here's what I'm doing with this. Okay, I'm telling Draymond I'm trading him. I am putting him in the Uber and in the driver's seat. I'm gonna have the most Rudy Gobert doppelganger you could possibly find. Okay. I'm gonna have Rudy Gobert in the driver's seat. In the passenger seat, I'm gonna have
Nurkic,
Nurkic, a Nurkic lookalike. Okay.
Steven Adams
And
balls, right?
I'm gonna give this thing a half hour. I'm gonna say, yep, we're trading Draymond. Give me a half hour. Having them drive him around. If for a half hour Draymond can keep his hands to himself, I'm gonna let him know it was all a joke. Draymond, we want to keep you. Okay. Um, no, I mean, jokes aside, listen, I don't think they can trade Draymond. I don't know what they can get for Draymond. I don't all the antics aside, all the annoyance aside, um I have not enjoyed watching anything less than I have the Warriors defense the last like, you know, 2 weeks. Okay. Um, oh,
Not Cook,
did I
man.
lose you guys?
No, you good.
Okay. I have not enjoyed watching anything less than the Warriors defense the last few weeks. Um, this team needs Draymond. Like, period. They are he is like some weird like mind control agent on the defensive end where he's got like tentacles in everybody's brains because when he's not out there, their defense it's I don't need to say anything, right? It's just it's tough. It's tough. It's horrible. They need a defensive captain out there. I don't care who they get, they're not replacing that. And unless they fully revamp this whole roster, which again I'm open to. I think Draymond probably has to stay, so I'm leaning to keep him.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I love the way you said it. Driving around, kind of tell him because I forget. I think it was Monty Poole that he was on the post game or pregame show at some point. And he was like, the Warriors made it clear like Draymond doesn't have any more strikes left. And so it's kind of a weird situation because obviously he's cost last year. Obviously the punch and everything was well documented. Of that was what railroaded the season. This year, Draymond's missed 19 games, and we've needed him for every single one. And it's completely his fault for like not being able to control his antics again. And so yeah, I mean and from that, like, part of me wants to get rid of him just to send a message, but the other part of me knows what this guy brings to the table. We've won 4 championships with him. His defense is needed more than ever right now. And so yeah, I'm totally on keep Draymond. But just like the thinnest ice you could possibly have. I think I'd love to see them make a flurry of moves before the deadline and then still kind of treat Draymond as, not necessarily what can you do by the deadline, but kind of just like you said, just can you control yourself? As funny as that is to talk about a 35-year-old man or whatever, 33-year-old. So
Telling you, emotional Benjamin Button, man.
yeah,
Chuck.
no, I don't know. But yeah, Chuckster.
Oh man. Well, I think you guys can probably guess how I feel about this. Well, yeah, on the Draymond note too. I'm taking him in with multiple bodyguards in a full Hannibal Lecter mask, just off the off chance that there are any large European men in the terminal. We don't want him biting or scratching or anybody on his way to presumably Los Angeles to go be with his buddy. Um, so yeah, I mean the defense is horrible, and you're right, Matt. He does have like this weird psychic ability to just like control the defense no matter what personnel are around there and at least bring them to average, if not above average. But man, I have no indication that he's gonna stop his bullshit anytime soon. And we saw it with his little Draymond Green show soundbite. A real good sign, by the way, that he has spent way too much time around LeBron James is faking retirement talk to divert away from something that you did that was not good. In LeBron's case, obviously, it was getting swept. Uh, Real competitive sweep, by the way. And then he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna retire," even though we all know he's gonna wait around and play with Bronny. And then Draymond doing this whole like, I was saying retiring. I was saying I'm gonna retire, and Adam Silver told me not to. Like, sure, man. Okay, whatever you say. Did not happen. Uh, but our next guy, our next part of the core that may or may not be up for it is Clay Thompson, and I'm laying it down, man. I am going full Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan's house. I am barricading the door. I will not let this man leave. Not only is he very important for a Steph context, like Steph has said over and over again that Clay being what Clay is offensively opens up so much of what he does. And I think that is very important. You cannot we've seen it from our guy Joe Varai over and over again. Like even Clay in this diminished role is still drawing two to the ball. He's still opening things up for other people. He's been a pretty willing playmaker, and I feel like his personality, both positive and negative, is something that this team really needs. So I I get it. He's making a lot of money. I get it. He's an expiring contract. I get it. He's not what he used to be. I don't care, man. Like Clay means so much more to this team than anyone not named Steph Curry. So I'm keeping him at all costs.
Yeah, 100%. I think I'm taking Clay in the car, or the boat, um, lighting up a joint and just having a little sesh with the fool, bro. Clay's a homie. I'm not getting rid of him at all. There's been rumors about Zach LaVine and being involved in the Clay deal. And look, man, if your goal is to get under that second apron, getting a contract with LaVine doesn't make sense. Just from a financial standpoint. Like you said, Chuck, the way he plays next to Steph and with Draymond, like these three are they like they're gonna figure it out. And like if they have a chance like to go out together, I think that's gonna be awesome. Like you said, expiring contract too. Clay's not going to make $43 million next year. So you whatever deal that you end up getting with Clay is going to be in that 25 to 29, maybe 30, whatever it is. Like it's still going to be a cut from what he's making right now. So he's going to be on a much more affordable contract. You're going to be able to have financial flexibility after this offseason. So I don't see the reason to move Clay. A lot of people are going out, taking his comments last night out of context about the booze. Like, what do you expect from a guy who's been like beloved in this franchise and got their ass fucking whooped last night? They're gonna be pissed, man. Like, you want dudes to be pissed. You want like a night where you get booed and Clay being mad about it is not like newsworthy or people turning on him. And I feel like it's been weird to see a lot of Warriors fans kind of turn on Clay specifically. Granted, I mean, he didn't play well early in the season, and same thing last year, like terrible bad series against the Lakers and whatnot. But Clay, when healthy, is always going to be a major factor for this team, especially playing next to Steph and Draymond. So if you're keeping Steph, if you're keeping Draymond, you're keeping Clay. And I don't think there's any two questions about that. So shout out Game 6 Clay. OG Pond.
Nice. Yeah, I'm on the same page. I wavered a few times early in the season.
Yeah.
In moments that I can't take back. I gotta live with those. But no, he's got to stay. And Chuck, you described the basketball aspect. Guy's still important. He's also, again, just to be totally frank, like the guy's been defending his ass off for a minute now. He's looked really good on that end, I think. He's been really willing as a passer, which for me, like the next evolution of Klay Thompson, like needs to be he's a guy who really uses gravity to set up his teammates when he has the ball. I think that's going to allow him to play for a lot longer than I think a lot of people think he can. But with that being said, now Clay's got to he's keep him. Gautam, to your contract talks, I'm gonna be shocked if Clay makes anything more than $24 million. I can't imagine him getting near 30 at this point. I don't know what it's gonna look like, maybe more years down to 20-ish, but the Warriors, if they're not jaded by the Draymond and Wiggins scenario thus far, and the Poole scenario thus far, I don't know. I mean, props to them for the healthy headspace, because that's crazy, man. They've given out 3 extensions in the last year, and good God, man, that's a tough way to look back. Okay, well, I somehow ended up with this one. This is the easiest one. I don't think anybody has any qualms about this. I guess salute and respect to the point guard, Chris Paul. Listen, 30 million expiring. We can pretend the Warriors brought him in to do anything but trade him eventually. In hindsight, maybe there was a world where the Warriors take off and look great and they don't trade him. But listen, it's he's Steve Kerr's little puppeteer, little ventriloquist master. Okay, like it's tough, and I need him off the team ASAP. The Warriors cannot survive another moment of Chris Paul playing important minutes of basketball for this team. And I want to point out as well, I'm not ignorant of the fact that this guy has been a plus player. Like he has been a plus player for the Warriors. He has been like, I don't know where he's not been worse than the fourth best Warrior this season. I'm not ignorant of that, but it's time. That money has got to go. That's got to be a vessel for the holy trade made with the Kuminga and Moody and whoever else salaries, right? They got to go, and Chris Paul's got to go. I'm driving him. I am genuinely going to say, Chris, I didn't expect this from you. I hated you before. I thought I would hate you throughout. But I would let him know, you know, it's time, guys.
Yeah. With CP, like you said, man, weird year. I think we were all shocked when we got him. Didn't know, obviously all hated him, just from prior battles and everything, but he's been great for us, man. I will have fond memories of Chris Paul in a Warriors uniform. Just the leadership, the point guard, all the stuff. Hankering down that second unit. Chris Paul, man, you're a goat. I will.
Oh my God, that was the most heartless thing I've ever heard in my life, man.
I'm not. I'm not. I mean it, man. Like it was fun. Reminded me of all those State Farm commercials and stuff. So, I'll have fond memories of CPU. Jokes aside, like, just a tough situation for him. Obviously, to come to a team like this and for it to play out the way it has. So again, it's nothing against what he's brought to the table. But like you said, Matt, that contract is the most valuable thing he's ever done for a Warrior for the Warriors, outside of.
That first part felt like getting like the
It's like right
very
before you like want to
corporate
fire someone.
HR.
Yeah, like right before you're like, hey man, like you just got good vibes and like loved how you brought coffee or whatever, but it's time, you're out.
It sounded like you were giving the eulogy of somebody you fucking hated, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, I don't hate Chris Paul anymore.
You're
I
like, hey man, we're really grateful for your time here. You've been so great. And you're
Yeah,
like,
get
I've
the
been here
fuck
for
out.
3 months. What the fuck are you
Yeah,
talking
like
about?
yeah, probably call him Cliff on the way out, just you forget his name or some shit. But nah,
Oh no, we got Cliff Wiggins, man. That's who we got.
oh, damn, for real. But yeah, nah, Chris Paul, man, thank you for your salary. It's gonna be insane to make some of these moves happen. But au revoir, brother. Have a good time.
Hey, well, Gotham, you
Am
kind
I
of
am
teed
I
yourself
am
up, I
I the
guess,
one with
man.
am I the one
You
with Maple
somehow wrapped
Jordan?
it up. You rolled up here with Andy Dubs, Andy Wiggins, man. What's going on with our guy?
Man, Wiggs, I love you, dude. This one's actually heartfelt. You have done such a good job. Just you know what, like just the way he came in 2021 with the whole label to shed that whole thing in that 2022 run it's forever stamped in Warriors fans' hearts. That banner, we wouldn't have won that without Wiggins. He was our second best player, hands down. Won't forget the clamping of Jason Tatum, Luca, all those posters from that run. But yeah, man, it's time. I don't know where. Cleveland, homecoming, Toronto, homecoming, Indiana, wherever it is. Wiggs, you're out, man. I love you. It's time. It's been a hell of a run. You've done wonderful things. Got two massive deals with the Warriors. So enjoy the paychecks, man. You stamped. You got a ring. Can't take that away. Appreciate everything, but. We'll see you at the reunion for the 2022 team, but not seeing you at practice next week, hopefully.
No, I think you nailed it on the head. Like that's the hardest part about the Wiggins thing is knowing how good he was when it really mattered. And God, he was just so it was such a different player for that team. And you talk about like it's so weird to see this player having like everyone's counted him out. They're like, all right, he's just, he's a chucker. He doesn't try too hard. He's just kind of going through the motions. And then we trade for him in the midst of the worst season in terms of record that we've had over these past 10 years. And I feel like a lot of people are just kind of like, oh man, what is this? But, the Warriors, they hadn't had a whole lot of super athletic wings since Harry Barnes went out the door. They didn't have a whole lot of big defensive wings. And Andrew Wiggins, they took the shot on him. It completely paid off. And now we've gone all the way back to square one somehow, where now it's old Wiggins, except he's not taking, 8 mid-range shots a game. So, yeah, man, if we're sending him up to Canada, if he's returning to Cleveland, where we all know he had a fantastic career, uh, it's whatever happens, man. Like it was it was a ride. It was certainly a roller coaster, big old up and down, but it's time, man.
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to add. Listen, I'm like probably literally 48 hours from hopping on the podcast and complaining about Wiggins. It's gonna happen in less than that. I'm very positive. But with that being said, Gotham, you said it stamped. 2022 run. He was great in that series. Like he was great. He was the epitome of what anybody could expect from like a high level role player, small forward for a team. Grabbing boards, defending his ass off, and hitting threes, hitting big shots. Um, Even last year, coming back from whatever he went through. Everybody has their thoughts on that, but the guy came back, played immediately, broke his ribs, kept playing. Can't forget. With that being said, you just know Jason Tatum is watching Wiggins this year, and he's just saying, "This guy, this is the guy that got me." You know it. You can't. It's got to be a crazy experience. I have never. I can't think of anything like this where a player just comes back and looks like at in their prime, like a shell of themselves. Like they just have the yips and they've got broken knees. I don't know what to make about it, but it's a bummer. Uh, it is either that or Draymond. The biggest problem the Warriors have faced this season is Andrew Wiggins' regression. Um, Listen, it's Andrew, loved it, loved the time. Couldn't say it any better. It's time to go. The time is up. It was a nice, again, genuinely incredible little run that hopefully people look back in your career and remember more than anything else. But time to go.
Time to go, man. And look, we went through every single team or every single player on the roster here. This was clearly, as you guys can see, man, if you guys listen to all this, like a lot of these guys, like we don't want to see go. Like guys like J.K. Moody, even Wiggs, guys who have done stuff for this team, but it's at a point where it's time. And the reports make it seem like Steph Curry, the leader of the show, obviously is behind it. So, look, something's got to give. This team can't continue doing the way or playing the way that they have been over the last few games. But there's still time to save it. But there's no more time to save this episode, man. We've run a long time. Matt, Chuck, before we get out of here, man, anything you guys want to shout out coming up? A lot of stuff cooking right now.
Yeah, well, we got another episode coming out this week. Keep an eye out for that. We'll be doing a little game preview of this upcoming Bucks game. I'm sure it'll be a very entertaining watch, and the Warriors will perform very well. So a lot to look forward to there. I also got another article coming out on the swishtheory.com doing a little dive on Nikhil Alexander Walker, who's been a very fun rotation redemption story for that team, currently tops in the West. So keep an eye out for that coming in a few days. And yeah, besides that, that's all I got.
I will be retweeting Chuck's shit, and that's it. Obviously, Chuck is spot on with, well, not spot on. He didn't get a question right. He knows what's happening because it's happening tomorrow. We're recording a pod with a special Bucks guest. We're looking forward to it. So 2 pods, 2 days, guys. Enjoy.
Enjoy, man. Grind doesn't stop here. Warriors Invitational. As always, guys, keep checking us out. Follow, like, subscribe, whatever it is. Reach out to us. Any of your thoughts, trades, takes on the team. If you're interested in hopping on the pod, we'd love to have you guys. We have a little bit of a backlog of people like just reaching out. So Bear with us. It's not personal. We want to get everybody on, which was our goal with the rebrand. But other than that, man, we will see you on the next episode with the Locked On Bucks guys. And till then, guys, peace.